Welcome in to the Altitude Report, everybody. I am Cy, your lifelong WWE fan. We're going to talk a little bit about SmackDown, also some just overall direction of where WWE is headed. If you watched SmackDown last night, this is Saturday. I watched SmackDown last night. Decided to digest the show over a basically 24-hour period. And it did not really sit any better after digesting the show. We're going to talk about basically the two main points that are worth talking about. Number one, we're going to talk about the absolute banger of a match that Ilya Dragunov had with Carmelo Hayes. Now, if you know anything about me, I am a massive, massive Carmelo Hayes fan. Always have been. And I was one of the people with an opinion who was absolutely sick and tired of the way that WWE was using someone like Carmelo Hayes. He's not the only one, but he is the one that comes to mind immediately for me. I was getting sick and tired of the way WWE was using Carmelo Hayes and basically wasting almost an entire year at this point of his potential. And, I don't know what it is about WWE and them being allergic to building new stars, but I mean, if you're an executive in WWE, I don't understand how you don't see that some of your top talent right now, they're starting to age a little bit. It happens. It's okay. But the thing you should do to combat that is to have new stars ready to go. It's almost like ever since Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock, ever since those guys got as big as they did, they just kind of they made a solemn vow in WWE to never let anyone get to that point again. And it makes zero sense to me, because if you think about it, if the more superstars you create, the more entertaining your product is, for one. For two, all it does is bring more eyes to your product. So say somebody does get as big as The Rock was, right? And that's the whole thing, is The Rock got massive. They paid him millions of dollars. He went to Hollywood to make movies. But what happened? What people don't talk about is a second part of that, is when The Rock went to Hollywood to film movies and came back. When The Rock came back for one-off matches, one-off storylines, it brought a more casual audience on top of the hardcore audience that WWE already has of pro wrestling fans. There is no downside to creating superstars that are at that level. And you're never going to do it if you keep booking people like garbage. If you keep putting them in storylines that nobody cares about. If you keep having them lose week after week. Like, good performances in the ring only means so much after you book loss after loss after loss. And that's what was happening with Carmelo Hayes, and that's what we see continue to happen with LA Knight, and it gets very frustrating. I mean, it gets to a point where it's like, that's what you're supposed to do in the wrestling business as a wrestling company. You are supposed to book the talent to the best of your ability, for one, and you're supposed to try and put everyone in positions to succeed. Is everybody going to succeed? No, and that's not what I'm saying. But you need to find out, as a wrestling promotion, you need to find out who can be those stars and who just is kind of more of a mid-card and who's just not going to pan out. You have to put your best foot forward with everyone on the roster. That's the only way to find out. And I'm not saying, you can't miss the target, right? I'm not saying that, every single thing that you book has to be good. That's never going to happen. But we absolutely should not get to a point where we're at now, where you have different things happening, right? We should never be at a point where Cody Rhodes is the WWE champion, CM Punk is the World Heavyweight champion, and John Cena is about to have his last match in the WWE ever, and we don't care. Nobody cares. And why don't we care? Because you book the tournament like garbage. You continue to book the WWE Championship like garbage. And the World Heavyweight Championship, you have made abundantly clear, is your B-level championship, which is insane to me because it's on your A show. So you book the World Heavyweight title like crap. You book the WWE title like crap. You pick and choose when you want them to be on an equal playing field. And then on top of that, you don't want to build any stars. You don't want to put some effort to make a tournament in order to determine who will face who you keep shoving down our throats as the greatest of all time. Some of you may think so, but WWE fans from my era of fandom, fans like me who were children during the Attitude Era, I am so sorry to tell you this, and I love John Cena. He's top 5 all time, probably top 3. I agree completely. Stone Cold Steve Austin is the greatest pro wrestler to ever lace up a pair of boots. I'm sorry. I'll save that for a different video, but that's my opinion. Just this whole GOAT. John Cena's the GOAT. John Cena's the GOAT. John Cena's the GOAT. I understand you're trying to sell tickets to WWE, and that crap might work on the casual audience. It's not going to work on us. It's not going to work on people like myself and other creators in the IWC. It's not going to work on people who watch me. You know, the few people that do watch me, it's not going to work on us. John Cena, in my eyes, is one of the top 5 pro wrestlers of all time, just solely from a success standpoint. But there are other factors you have to consider, and Stone Cold Steve Austin checks all those boxes for me. He will forever be my greatest of all time. Now, is there room at the table for someone to unseat Stone Cold Steve Austin? Absolutely. Do I trust WWE to book superstars to a point where they get that big? Absolutely not, and I don't think they ever will. Like I said, they're allergic to creating new stars. And Carmelo Hayes is a prime example of somebody who has that it factor. He has the pro wrestling ability, evidenced by the banger match he put on with Ilya Dragunov. He also has pretty decent promo skills. And the more promo time you give him, the more natural he's starting to sound. So I don't know what the deal is with wasting Carmelo Hayes' potential. I'm not a fan of it. I think it's a total waste. I mean, the guy was a first-round pick in the draft for SmackDown, which the draft is a total waste of time anyway. But, and that, again, that's not me just telling you that. That's because that's how WWE has treated the draft. Like, it means nothing. So, but nonetheless, he was the first-round pick in the 24 draft, 23 draft, whatever it was. The last draft they had, he was the first-round pick. And then you did nothing with him. Why would you take someone first overall and do nothing? It makes no sense. I'm glad they're finally using him. But again, he lost. Like I said, good performances can only overcome so many losses. You know, it gets to a point where you hit that there's too many losses and the audience loses its interest in that superstar. Not because of anything they did wrong, but because of crappy booking. LA Knight is starting to get to that point. Excellent match from Carmelo Hayes and Ilya Dragunov. Dragunov retains the United States Championship. Then we had the finals of the Last Time Is Now tournament. It was Gunther versus LA Knight to determine who faces John Cena for his last match at Saturday night's main event on December 13th. And man, this tournament was booked horrendously. WWE had such a golden opportunity in their hands to make this tournament not only fun, but they could have made it wildly entertaining, right? And aside from bringing Dolph Ziggler back into the mix, aside from bringing, they booked it so horribly, I almost forgot. Zack Ryder and Dolph Ziggler, besides bringing those two guys back, what did you do that excited any of us? I don't think you did a thing that excited any of us, right? You didn't get us to care. And then for whatever unknown reason, only God himself knows, you had The Miz in the tournament twice. Why? Why would you do that? That was a terrible decision. I also don't understand how you don't feature a little bit more NXT talent in the tournament. Considering the fact that John Cena wants Saturday night's main event to be this, NXT future of the company versus the stars of now on the main roster kind of thing. So much so to where he wants to open the show. John Cena wants to open the show because he wants the show to be about the future. His words, not mine. So why didn't you feature more NXT talent, more up-and-coming talent in this tournament? It made no sense to me. You made the tournament boring. You made it unentertaining. And I know for a fact, WWE was very, very tempted to give us a Jey Uso and Gunther final. I know you wanted to do it, Triple H. I know you guys were sitting there in your creative meetings. We've all watched the behind the scenes Netflix documentary. Every time I see the goofballs at the creative table say, "Oh, this is gonna be great, man. This is gonna kill it. This is gonna be awesome, man." Every time I see them behave this way over mediocre storylines, I get very, very visibly and audibly irritated because grown ass men can't write a television show to hook in and be entertaining for other grown-ass men. It makes no sense. Anyways, you couldn't book the tournament in an entertaining way. You couldn't book the tournament in a way that made us care. You couldn't make it fun. You didn't make it entertaining. And we got the most predictable tournament possibly in WWE history. We all knew. Name a creator on YouTube or TikTok or wherever that didn't think Gunther was going to win the tournament. We all knew Gunther was going to win this tournament. Now, another question I have is, so are we just going to go on this path of Gunther beating and retiring big names? He beat Goldberg, retired Goldberg. He's going to beat Cena. He's going to retire Cena. I know WWE is chomping at the bit to have Gunther and Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. Will it retire Brock? I don't know, but the point remains, Gunther doesn't need this. Sorry about that, guys. I thought I heard somebody walking around outside my garage. That was kind of weird. But anyways, like I was saying, you made this last time is now tournament very uninspiring, and it kind of puts a damper on John Cena's retirement match. It's beneath Gunther. Gunther doesn't need this at all. Gunther should be in a world title picture. If anything, this would be the perfect match to give somebody like Carmelo Hayes, somebody like Braun Breaker, somebody like who's kind of at that B level, and this would put the rocket pack on him and shoot him up to that superstar status. That's who should be in this tournament. That's who should win this tournament. LA Knight would have been an excellent choice to win this tournament. And once again, WWE finds a way to just crush and screw over all the LA Knight fans. And it's kind of getting old, if I'm being honest. I mean, the excuse that some fans on social media and YouTube in particular that I've seen comment anyway have said that, well, LA Knight doesn't have great matches. Really? Because he just put on an instant classic last night with Gunther. So as long as, except for that triple threat match on night one of WrestleMania, he had the best match on the show of night one. Him and Jacob Fatu put on a great match. And he had one of the most viral moments of WrestleMania. And I'm sorry, but if your excuse is, well, LA Knight's not a main event guy, LA Knight doesn't wrestle out of this world amazing, but you support Jey Uso getting a title run? Nah, bro, miss me with that. Miss me with that. LA Knight deserves more. LA Knight is a main event guy, and LA Knight deserves to be in the title picture. Gunther didn't need to win this tournament. It just made the tournament, on top of already being boring and unentertaining and uninspiring, all it did was make it predictable on top of that. So I don't know, man. Let me know what you guys think. The WWE dropped the ball with this tournament. SmackDown, once again, outside of two shining moments, sucks. Probably one of the worst shows on TV that I watch all week long. Let me know what you guys think. Comment down below. Like, subscribe, all that. If you think I'm an asshole, go ahead and comment that. Let me know. There are no rules here on the Altitude Report, my man. No rules here. Not in the comments section, not on lives, not in video responses, none of that. I don't filter nothing. You know how it goes. All right. This is the Altitude Report. This has been your WWE Week In Review / SmackDown review. Go ahead, like, comment, subscribe. Remember, the air is thin, but the opinions are thick. Have a great night.